With an undergraduate's degree from Harvard and a PhD from Princeton, Temple professor Heath Fogg Davis holds all the credentials needed to be a respected scholar. Davis's soon-to-be-published book, Beyond Trans, Does Gender Matter?, looks at sex classification laws and policies and their relevance in today's society. Not only does he have the academic experience required for this research, he also has a personal connection with it. Davis is a transgender man who made his transition around 2008. He says his personal identity gives him a little more insight into his research. Davis considered himself a part of a broad spectrum when it comes to the issue of transgenderism.
I think that those, the questions of sort of personal identity have to do with individuals and their own kind of narratives. I don't think there's one specific narrative that goes along with being trans.
With this philosophy in mind, Davis's book doesn't take any extreme stances. He does not advocate for a genderless society, but rather questions whether gender is relevant in certain situations.
We should get rid of a lot of our gender policies, and then when we deem it fit to institute such policies, I think that institutions, businesses, organizations, schools need to do a much better job of explaining to people about why they're asking people to, for example, check a gender box.
In his book, Davis analyzes 4 case studies where he believed gender does not play a relevant role. Those cases are government-issued identification documents, such as driver's licenses and passports, the use of public restrooms, single-sex colleges, and sex segregation in sports. This is the second book written by Davis. In 2002, his book titled The Ethics of Transracial Adoption looked at the issue of whites adopting African-American children from an anti-discrimination law perspective. Similar to his research, Davis's teaching focused on anti-discrimination law and policies having to do with anti-racism and sexism. He taught at Wisconsin University for 6 years before coming to Temple.
The Temple job opportunity came along, and I jumped at it because I love Philadelphia and I want back on the East Coast.
Davis's involvement with the transgender narrative goes beyond his research and teaching. He was recently selected to serve on the Philadelphia Mayor's Commission on LGBT Affairs. He is one of 23 members who will advise the mayor on policies that support the lives of LGBT individuals in the city and support and amplify the work of the Office of LGBT Affairs. The commission was recently informed and has only met twice, but they are working on sorting their priorities and reaching out to the community. Davis is optimistic about the future of trans rights and emphasized that an act of Congress is not required to create change. For WHIP Radio, I'm Alex Weaver.